Yeah, let me know if it's working. Let me
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, so hello everyone. Let me actually just try to share my screen. How to do that? Okay, looks good. Hope you're able to see my screen.
Not just yet. Oh, yes, I'm able to see it. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. So.
Great. So, so hello everyone. Hello everyone. My name is Ravi, and I am Senior Product Manager. Along with the product manager, I have a passion for product mindset, actually. So I closely work with the various product team and try to understand what they are trying to build, help them on the journey. And also in this course, sometime I actually becomes the buddy product manager or mentor, or you can actually call me anything in this ecosystem. But what actually keeps me drive is hearing about the new ideas, collaborating with each other, and bringing something new on the table, which has tangible value for the community. That actually keeps me going. So we will start with product metrics. And so when this topic was given to me, I was very thrilled because so somewhere my product management journey started with product metrics. And for the disclaimer purpose, I'll just say a few things about the product metrics. It's a very vast topic. It's very impossible to cover and touch every aspect of it in next 1 hour. But I will try to sum up as much as possible. And I believe most of you are aspiring product managers, or you're thinking of shifting career from somewhere within the product team, or somewhere you've been observing the product team and want to make through to the product management side of the job. So as far as the product metrics, yes, this is on a daily basis, or mostly the product managers do communicate a lot about the numbers and a lot of jargons they actually talk. But what they talk is basically somewhere between the product metrics. This is a vast topic, and it will take some time to cover completely. I'm sure the product star, the team will actually cover this topic in detail in their respective product star course aspect of it. Okay. So most of my inspiration actually comes from a book called Measure What Matters. It is from John Deere, and he is one of the early writer to point out about the OKR. OKR was very old-fashioned. I mean, it is a very for the product companies, usually a key metric for the businesses to see what is happening at the very bottom level, from the connecting everything from the vision perspective. And this is a very interesting book. I recommend everybody to please have a look at this book and try to read it. It is not boring, and you can get very good examples from Facebook to Google and every aspect of it. Very interesting book, and this book is actually kind of inspiration for me to jump from the data analytics part of the product management, and it actually gives a lot of space to think about it. And if you see any infographics, high likely those are from undraw.co. You can reach me on LinkedIn. This is my email address also if you want to connect with me. And this presentation, and I mean, during this journey, and whatever I'm expressing is completely my own expression. It has nothing to do with my employer or the institution I'm working with right now. All the copyrights and many mentors are actually on this way, help me to build this content. So let's begin with what John Deere actually said about the OKR, that is key objective results. The healthy culture and structure goal setting are interdependent. So if we really look at the goal setting of the organization, if it is happen nicely, organization itself, be it a product company or the service company, it actually brings us so much of harmony, and everybody understand the purpose, and everybody connects with the vision. So connecting with the vision is the key aspect of any organization throughout the lateral, be it a cross-functional or the other functional team. Connecting with the vision is very important, and that's where the OKR is very popular across most of the product companies. And so that's actually lead to if a product company really need to look at the product performance, or what to measure, what not to measure, how to measure, and what is a good practice to measure. is these are the topics which actually comes in front of the product leaders as well as in front of the product managers. And that's where the product metrics come into the picture. Product managers by nature, they are very problem-solving people. Okay, they work across as a cross-functional. They actually work across the spectrum of the organization. They connect with the marketing, customer success, product operation aspect of it, tech sometimes, the project management aspect of it, customer experience, UX, so many things. So this parabola, if you really try to understand what I meant to communicate here, is the product management doesn't just about the product planning or product strategy or product roadmap or product execution or the product launch alone. It is a mix of everything, and the phase and the dynamics of the business changes, and you've got to really work with every aspect of it. So now when we talk about the product success, key success criteria for any product, we really need to touch upon various aspects of it, and it actually has an impact on every small pieces what we really bring together, right? So this is how the product, the management and the quadrant when we see. So you are actually spread across, you are trying to connect with all the aspect of it. If you are actually a product manager with a good amount of marketing side, so you can be considered as a growth product manager, right? So if you are actually working on the high driven value products, most probably, so you would be considered as a strategic product manager. Or if you're building too much of inclination towards the engineering side of it or the IT side of it, so you would be considered as a technical product manager. But in a nutshell, what it looks like, product management is common, and it actually connects all the dots together. Hope you're understanding the impact of the working across the team, and you're connecting every aspect of it. Okay. So when we really talk about the metrics, when we really talk about, so there is a misconception. Most of us as a product manager, we take KPIs as a metrics, and we really do not understand why we are actually diluting. I'll give you a couple of examples. So I was working with one of the startups recently, and these guys were making an e-commerce website, and it was a mobile application, and they were very excited to see how the moment this application is launched, how the interactions are happening, or how the tractions are happening. The thing is, like, that the product was developed and it was launched. So what they had is actually a Firebase analytics, and it's the analytics tools like Google Analytics, and they were started looking at the numbers, like how many visitors came, what is the duration of the purchase, click-through rates, and many other aspects of it. But they did not created any product metrics which actually connects with your product vision. So most of the time, the product managers do create the product vision, which is a long goal, what we can actually achieve by building it, or what is the problem we are solving. But we always get diluted with product KPIs. But there is something called the product metrics, which is the leading indicators or the indicators which actually help you why you really need to apply product KPIs, what to track and what not to track, right? Because of the nature of the product, it is very important to understand what is really required. Because say if you are in the launch phase and you just want to check, did you have just published your application and a couple of links has been floated across Facebook. You just want to validate is Facebook marketing is working or not, or you haven't invested any money, but still you have just posted the application link or app link to a couple of groups, and you just want to see these groups are working or not. So those, when you get the traffic, these are the indicators, right? These are the telling the numbers. Okay, so much of installation happened, so much of the dropouts happen. So maybe it's going to help you to understand what is the communication market fit, how you are communicating to the user, and how you are how effectively you're communicating to the users, and how effectively you are actually working along with the users, right? So these are the common mistakes as a product managers we do, and we do not create a product metrics. What we actually directly jump on the product KPIs like retention, DAU, MAU, and we get lost in these jargons. And because we are very excited to talk about it, right? So here we are actually going to take a stop, and we're going to think about what metrics are and why they are important. And this actually gives you the indication at what we have to do at what point. This is a vast topic, as I said. Some of you are coming from a various and different the segment of the product, like some of you might be coming from the B2B, B2C, SaaS-based product, platform-based product, chatbot, artificial intelligence, so many different type of products. So your metrics actually changes based on the nature of the product you have. And this is very important to understand, because no, it's like a shoe doesn't fit to everyone. So just to keep on thinking about the use cases, what you have in your mind, and try to understand how this is connected to your product. And if you have any question, feel free to ask me. Certainly, we will actually give enough time to address your questions. And so that's how we will actually proceed. And I'm not going to dump a lot of product KPI related information. So product KPIs are as a stack of information you can actually check later on from the internet, but we will actually concentrate on metrics, why we are doing it and how we are doing it, and what is the advantage and what type of metrics we have, and what are the advantages and the disadvantages we have from it. Okay, so first and foremost metric, which is the key and the most important metrics, which I call it like the alpha metrics, which is North Star metrics. North Star metrics is nothing but it actually aligns with your business goal. If your business is built upon e-commerce, or if your business is built upon application which actually rendered the say like HRMS application or any application, right? So what is the business goal? So before coming to this point, you really need to understand one thing very clearly. Like it should connect with your business. It should connect with your product vision. So product vision need to be well defined, and the best time to do this activity or create or define the North Star metrics is the very beginning of the your curriculum, or very beginning of your your ideation phase. So if you're deciding I will be creating a mobile application or the product which is gonna serves the say e-commerce, so you should be very clear about it. Okay, the click-through rate has to be good, and the business goals are very clear. Like, no, I'm here to monetize it. The engagement is not going to play a vital role. You really want to keep on bringing users back to the things, back to the application, and these are the elements of it. So North Star metrics actually defines in this aspect of it, and it connects with your business vision. And so it's all about like what is your business vision, and how well you as a product manager have understood the business vision, and how well you are actually translating the backlogs to the technical team or the marketing team in terms of communication and the value proposition communication perspective, and how well you are really getting the area. I'm sorry. So this is actually a representation of business goals aligning with your product vision. Okay, and it actually collaborate across functional team. So the earlier slide, we have seen the product team comprised of everyone. So you are actually checking the technology aspirations. So have you really built have you choose the right technology? So is it like where your customers are, have you built it? What if my customers are largely coming from the Android space and we have built an iOS application? Disaster. Okay, so same way your product market fit and your communication market fit is actually happening or not. What we are communicating to the users in terms of campaigns, are they really coming with the same expectations, or they're building a different expectations and coming to your rendering your services? Okay, and as far as the North Star metric is concerned, yes, it's a North Star metric, is only a name, and it connects with the vision. Yes, it's true, but it is dynamic in nature, and it actually changes every now and then wherever the possibility, right? So maybe like when you're launching the application, your business goal is to acquire as many users as possible and have the 1 day or 2 day DAU or MAU very high. And but you have a monetization aspect of it, or maybe like you have a ribbon for advertisement and you want your couple of users to actually click through that so that you can monetize the application. You can monetize your business model. So now your NPS, the North Star metrics actually slightly changes, and you actually try to see how many users are. Now you do not consider the DAU or MAU anymore, but you just, that's the static number. Now you actually concentrate on how well you are doing in terms of monetization. So in similar cases actually happens over a period of time. There are many examples in and across. But so right now you just don't think about, and we will visit a couple of KPIs which you can actually put it in this bucket. And so there you can actually see, and this is the North Star metrics perspective. Okay. As a product manager, many times we actually trade off. So many things which are very important to track, but we do not track it just because it is not important for that particular moment. Or like my previous example, you are in the launch phase and you are not sure about right now, you just want to acquire as many users as possible. You don't want to see a habit, or you're not very confident of building habit is actually gonna make sense or not, or your product market fit phase where you're testing, you're trying to understand how your product is actually fitting to the solution. So many times your engagement metrics will not be very important on those areas. So you can actually, balance set metrics actually helps you to look at the little deeper and understand what are the impacting trade-off metrics you have, and how they are doing it. You may not concentrate it or bring it to your actual dashboard, but you keep one eye on those direction of it. Okay. These are the identify KPIs that measure both sides of the trade-offs. Okay, so you basically, the trade-offs are very difficult to, it is a very difficult choice for any product manager to do it, because it requires immense amount of time and immense amounts of data analytics aspect of it, and also you really need to have a clear understanding what you're trying to build, and many times it is not very easy to do that. So still you have to really have a couple of KPIs on thinking on those direction, so that you can actually find a trigger how you can actually look at your backlog or the roadmap aspect of it. Okay. The impact oriented, it is very impact oriented, and every decision you are taking as a PM. So basically, you are actually looking at the impact, what it's going to make. So it could be, the impact, what if you bring a new feature? And here you are actually looking at the user journey very thoroughly, right? So when you are actually trying to go a little more deeper in the transaction by transaction, so there you actually understand what exactly you need to do. So balance set metrics is actually will actually bring you towards focus more on the product aspect of it rather than just the vision aspect of it, and the trade-off may emerge over a time. So this is also a dynamic in nature, so and keep on bringing more and more emerging factors of it. Are you really, and balance set metrics also actually help in many terms to find out, do we really need a one product manager or two product manager or three product manager? So what it happens is the many times we see the mobile applications, right? I guess some of the participants or most of the participants are from India. So I can take example of Swiggy, or Zomato is more global, right? So yeah, Zomato. So Zomato, if you really see, if you go to their LinkedIn page and the location wise, you will see there are more than 14 or 15 product managers are working, but there's only one app. How it's possible? And many times we see so Zomato is a product, right? As a brand, as a product, we see how these products are actually, how so many product managers are coming together and building a product. What happened is here the different people are actually working on the different segment of it. It could be different, one product manager is taking care of only and only the onboarding of the customer. Okay, onboarding experience. Okay, one product manager is just taking care of the payment gateway aspect of it. One product manager is just taking care of the engagement aspect of it. Okay, or maybe the cuisine traits, what we have it, maybe one product manager is just looking at the the locational services or the customer experience services. So that's how you actually, so when you are actually doing a too much of trade-offs, that's the time you can actually think of okay, yeah, this product requires the multiple product managers, or how many other segments we can actually open, or how deep we can go. So balance set metrics actually gives you those indications, and it actually helps you to understand how does this actually overall work. Okay. Leading indicators. So this is one of the most important the lead indicators when we are in the monetization phase. And so as the example is concerned, so leading indicators, it actually creating a trigger which actually happens in the near future. It can be positive, it can be negative. Okay. And and it actually makes the product manager more productive, more proactive, more productive, as well as more proactive. Yeah, for an example, most of the SaaS-based companies has identified when they give a free 1-month trial to their users. After 3 days or 4 days, if the user engagement drops to 0 or comes down to less than 5% of the expected engagement, so high likely this user will not consume the next set of licenses, or he will not, or the users will not come and renew the licenses. So this is how the SaaS-based companies created a leading indicator, which actually tell them, like this users may not come back or renew the thing. So which actually proactively the company or proactively the product manager can run a campaign, bring the user back to the engagement zone, high engagement zone, and try to create a communication things. And same thing which we have actually seen in the telecom also. Before the disconnection of the the close to 3-4 days before or 5 days before, we don't see any engagement is going to happen, right? So these are the activities when they are happening. It means some triggers are required. So this is where your customer success team, as a product manager, you can actually trigger the customer success aspect of the role, and now give them the next chunk of work. Okay, this is something we really need to look upon, or this is something you have to really closely keep the eyes. And on the positive side also, we can actually think about, say, like, if the users are actually holding a lot of cart value, or I mean, like in e-commerce, what we call it, like if the user is actually browsing through the multiple category, he has a less chances of uninstalling the application. So this is an indicator which actually followed by Amazon right now. And if the user is just coming for the one category, one product, and he buys it and he doesn't really initiate the other indicator, it is that actually high likely this user will not continue for pretty long time. I'm sorry. So high likely this user will not communicate. So that is where the Amazon actually built a suggestive search, where if you're buying a telephone or if you're buying a mobile phone, they actually try to sell you the accessories along with it, or try to give you something along with it, so that you actually browse to the other corners of the Amazon app and try to get connected with the thing, and high likely you will not to come out of the high likely you will not be the user who will actually drop the services. So these are the actually indicators which actually we really need to, as a product manager, we have to really understand, and this requires a user behavior very thoroughly. You can actually create a stream, or you can connect multiple events together and see how the user comes and see and check all the aspect of it. So that's the leading indicator. In detail, we can actually talk about it later, or if you have any question, I can actually explain through the example, or some more explanation. So proxy indicator, yeah, proxy indicators are actually the connected. This actually help you to reduce the hypothesis. It is not a, I mean, like mostly we actually, as a product managers, we are not a very big fan of proxy indicators, because it actually most of the time indicators how to give an, I'm just thinking what example I should give. Okay, so basically if the user is actually keep on coming to the help section, or keep on coming to the keep on trying to understand how your application works. So the proxy indication, you can actually run a survey and try to understand, is the user is actually connected with you, or is he really understanding? Because there is a business need, or user actually wants to use your application, but he's not well connected with it. Okay, so proxy indicators are actually something you can actually use as like while they are with you. So many of the product manager run surveys. Many of the product manager connect with they actually go back and read the App Store review, Play Store review. Okay, or also the customer service lines. They actually sit and try to read all the emails and all the text, if we have feasibility of receiving text and other things. So proxy indicators actually gives a very good indication of what customers are feeling. Many times it may not connect with your roadmap, but it is good to have it, and it actually can bring the hypothesis to an extent, to reduce the hypothesis to an extent, but also it really doesn't make a huge impact it may lead, it is very important, do not scrap it just because it names as a proxy. But if you really look at most of the product innovations actually happen through proxy indicators, but the product innovations actually happens once you have a solid product and then you innovate. Otherwise, you keep on changing your product and you don't know where you're actually firmly grounded. So, so proxy indicators are good, but to a limited extent. And the examples are like survey, reading, the checking emails, and reading the YouTube comments of the videos which are posted, social pulse or emotional aspect of the users. You can actually take it. So these are the couple of places where you can actually check, and which cannot be taken directly from the app analytics. So you really need to do a little bit more about the data crunching and bring more and more connect to it. Okay. Deep dive metrics. So deep dive metrics, yeah, this is the deep dive metrics is basically a level 2, a level 3 metrics, which we call it these are the most non-strategic metrics, actually, just the number which actually talks about, yeah, I am there. But if you really see from the mean, it doesn't really have any no solid meaning until you really want to pursue a research on it. So okay. So, and also it actually helps you to do the user clustering, creating a user's clustering based on the kind of material they are purchasing from your e-commerce example again, or what kind of processes they are doing. So if I'm actually built an application like HRMS tool, so there is somebody who's sourcing, somebody's hiring manager, or somebody's a HR general. So who is doing what job, and based on within the product, you are actually creating a segmenting the users, right? So based on that, so it actually also gives you the demographic to see where the traffic is coming more from, what kind of devices, what kind of technology they are using, OS and other things. Okay, and do not use it. This is for your most of the stakeholder engagement perspective. Just use it only to the within the product community perspective until really but yeah, just have this, keep a close eye on it, but it doesn't really give you a huge thing. But this is the most exciting as a new product managers, we actually get very excited about it by looking at what is the demography people are coming from, or how my marketing is doing. So these are the indicators, but these are the level 2 and level 3. It doesn't have any strategic value, straightforward, but you can actually have it. And most of these KPIs actually goes for backup slides. So yeah, it is good, but it doesn't really. So, but the biggest usefulness you can actually get from creating a user cluster. So whatever the processes you have created for the user base, you can actually try to see how it is working for you. And if you really need to create a depthness for the segment, you can actually utilize this. So that's the product metrics from the deep dive perspective. So these are the 5 segment of product metrics what we have. Many times some of the hygiene practice, I can actually say when you're creating it, do not consider your market and your application together. So say you're a healthcare application. So many times you will see the users are actually coming and they have connected with the doctor, and now they are taking the transaction outside. It means they are connecting with the doctor later on. First consulting was they have taken through the app, and the second and third consultations they haven't taken. So these kind of areas you really need to concentrate. Those kind of aspect you cannot get from the metrics perspective. You really need to have a very deep understanding of the user research and try to see the buying behavior and create a leading metrics, so that you can actually pick those up and create a hook mechanism or hook or some other tactics you can do within the product and do that. So metrics are really not true reflection of your the market. It is just true reflection of the users which are doing the activity within the application, and always try to narrow it down. Okay, this is the small piece of the work which is done within the application. Never say no, never come back and or never try to presume that this is what the market is actually happening with. Why? Until otherwise you have a strong research done in and around the product. So these are the couple of the things which I can actually talk about right now. And so as I said, the product vision is at the leadership level, measurement is the management level, and now we are the product KPIs. And if you are working in a very very big organization, so you can see the product Analyst or the associate product managers, usually the helping hands to keep a close tab on the KPIs. So here we have 10 popular KPIs, and so these KPIs are actually again segmented in a broader way, like product stickiness. Do my users and customer keep coming back? So here we are talking about the product retention, DAU value, MAU value. What is what is the retention is happening? Okay, how exactly it is happening? So this is the product stickiness perspective. Product usage. Are my users and the customers are engaging with the products, or are they just coming here and checking one thing and then leaving? So which is actually a case with many e-commerce companies, and they have found users keep on coming back, and especially with the furniture companies, they have found it like the user keep on coming, they browse through a lot, but they take a very less, very less narrow chances of making any purchase. Okay, feature adaptation, it is very important as a product manager. So feature adaptation actually help you to understand how, if you are building a new feature or if you're adding new feature aspect of it, how it's going to be successful. So you are taking a very calculative decision, trying to understand if this investment was done, because when you're building a feature, you're investing your research, marketing, technology, every expenses towards it, right? So what is the probability of success? And that has to be very good before proposing it. So make sure your feature adaptation ratio is very high, and then you are actually very nicely, you can actually jump on your roadmap, and you can actually swim across the roadmap, and you can keep on achieving all the goals much in advance. And there is this feature adaptation is also indicator are you really digging deep, or are you really digging wide? So many times we just keep on building features. There are technology teams, engineering teams, which are very excited to build new features because they really want to keep themselves busy. So make sure so you have the enough stop point for them. Otherwise, a lot of features, but difficult to track a lot. And this is the usual case with mostly many companies, which they are finding it the features are very good, but yeah, the users are not using it. So feature adaptation is really really required. Okay. Feature retentions. So are my users are building or endorsing habit inside the product? So are they really keep on coming back, or are they really adapting to the every aspect of it? And this is, you can actually validate it by A/B testing. Okay, A/B testing is another tools and mechanism where you can actually see does the user is actually observing the corner most the thing which you have done it, and are they really adapting to it? Now you just made a small changes to your application, and you see your alpha users, or your early adapters, or the tech savvy users are really picking it up, or are they really taking time? So based on that, you can actually think about you can actually roll it out across the spectrum. Okay, net promoter scores. Are my users or customers are actually happy? Many time in B2B, what we call it does my customers are actually really talking about my product? So are they, if you're actually giving your SaaS-based products, so how many of them are interested to talk about it, and how many of them are interested to refer it to the next customers? Because most of the application comes with a share option, and how many users are actually clicking the share button, and so those are the indicators which actually helps you to understand your customers are happy and they're referring also. And if they're not referring, then you can think about if you want to improve NPS, you can also play some around tricks, many organizations or many apps actually give you the share links, or the share advantages, maybe the kind of what do you call the currencies or something like that. Okay, the leading indicators, which was explained earlier, and so it is basically going to give you the indicators for the conversion, renewals, expansions. I don't know, is it the users are going to stick with us, or how exactly it's going to be, or if the users are actually really adaptable to the new features, so how they're going to do it. So leading indicators are very important, and this is a vast area to be built upon for any product management. Okay, and then the 7, 8, 9, 10 is absolutely the internal the product KPIs. These are actually the health indicators of the product team, I would call it, but not for the product management aspect of it, but still it can be communicated to the leadership team thoroughly. Does my customer want something from my product? So how many of the feature requests actually come from the customers? Okay, and this is really not a good for any product managers to let me tell you, when you're users are actually giving you the feedback and asking you to build something like that. So either either the users are actually taking you away from the actual vision, because most of the time, like, the product vision is not shared by the product customers or the users. Okay, so so just to be sure, like, what they're receiving, what you are recommending, and how you're receiving. And I'm coming from an organization where we don't have investors, but we have sponsors, and this actually happens a lot. Like, to many of the sponsors actually influence to build some features, please add this to your tech stack. So it is very difficult, and so that's why, like, we really don't have any KPIs to track it. I mean, so it's just an email request which actually buries on the inbox if we really find it convincing, or if we really find it interesting to build it, and if we see it has a value to the larger audience, we actually build it. Otherwise, we really don't track the number 7, and it has been striked, and there is a leadership alignment around it. Okay. Then product delivery predictability. So how reliable is my product roadmap? And so product roadmap perspective. So here again, like, you're looking at the market research perspective, tech stack perspective, and also from the how the situational or VUCA analysis and many other things can be done here. So so we are in the pandemic situation across the globe, and so just in case that today is somewhere in the month of January or February, and we are in India. And so after somewhere in the mid-March onwards, the India was completely locked down. So this is the KPI which actually failed by most of the startups and most of the apps perspective, product perspective. But most of us, we couldn't even understand, and it took close to 45 days to come back with the alternative solution to our users. So yeah, it is very important, and it actually leads to a predictability, delivery predictability perspective, because many of the teams were started working from home or from the delivery perspective, and also we were not sure how the users are going to interact in the completely different social understanding perspective, right? Okay, then number 9 is absolutely a tech. Okay, so this is a quality of the product what you're building. This actually goes to an engineering team, product bugs, and so how much as a product manager you can actually keep a close eye on it. So usually it doesn't come from the metrics perspective, but it is not for the product metrics, but it can be a technology stack perspective that you can do it. And the product performance, again, like, most of your services are 100% up or not, servers are running or not. Okay, the payment gateways are not failing, how many errors or emails or engagement happens. So if you're a product manager for such a big company, and if any of your services doesn't work, the high likely you will hear a lot from the Twitter. So I say, yeah, so product performance is key indicator. So this is how it is. So you keep as a product manager, you keep a close tab on all these aspects of it, and you actually start building the product indicators in and across. Okay, so so that's all about the product KPIs. I guess I have taken a lot of time here. Okay, so here we have product metrics. The 5 product metrics, and the high likely the dashboard. So many times the product sponsors or basically the product team has been asked to create a dashboard. So I mean, like, so it's just a the view, I can say right now. So which was somewhere it is created. It is not related only for the reference purpose. But you have to really find out which KPIs actually falls under where, and how to actually see that, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. So if you have any questions, you can actually ask me, and I'm ready to answer.
Okay, Ravi, thank you so much. Very insightful presentation. So yeah, let's turn to the question and answer section. Yeah, we have some questions coming in. So for example, let's start with Christy. Christy is asking, are there some techniques of how to convert the business goals to product vision and then to the product metrics? How to be sure that we have the best fit metrics that matter for the business to succeed?
So Christy, interesting question. The question actually, yeah, first of all, let me tell you, it's a very interesting question and the generally asked question. Okay, so there is no way, so as I said, like, if you're building a product which is those SaaS product maybe, okay, or if you are actually using a Zoom, and the Zoom sale during the launch, it hardly used by the one customer or the one user initial days, right? And if you're building a product which is a B2C space, which is maybe the e-commerce for the larger audience, So, so it is actually difficult to figure out, like, because you cannot put everything in same bucket and actually concentrate and say like that these numbers are good or these numbers are bad. So you really need to have the product vision in place, and expectations are actually set. And that's why, like, when we are actually build a product vision, we also calculate the hypothesis along with it, and that's how we can actually start with. So North Star metrics actually, so you can actually pick something from the the 10 KPIs what we have it, and then start bucketing into which indicator is where, and from there you can actually. So yes, if I really look at the 4 or 5 metrics right now, the North Star metric is the most important metrics, and it doesn't really go off ever. More and more it gets dynamically changed, but it doesn't go off. So I mean, like, if your business is built upon ad revenue, so it means you really need to think about, like, how the users are actually moving across the application and helping you to generate more revenue, right? Or so it's in that way. I hope I have answered your question, or if you have the extension of it, let me know.
Thank you. Sagar is asking, companies like Zomato are solving a very basic problem, but why do they need an app? A website will also solve the purpose.
Yep, that's very interesting, the aspect of it, with the way you're looking at the way, So when we actually do the product research, we actually look at the, who is going to use it, when they're going to use it, and what is the customer journey looks like. So the Zomato or the food app, mobile application revolution actually started from there, because the convenience and like the convenience is one factor, and also like easy to do, right? So the way you see right now, the people, I mean, frankly speaking, the mobile applications or mobile phones are actually replacing the computers in and large. Aspect of it, what you can do from the mobile applications, immediately you can expect the same thing from the laptop. But why do we really need to fire the laptop? Can I give the convenience to the user from the mobile application? So this is basically comes from the product the research perspective. If your user comes from that demography, or he can actually access to this aspect of it, maybe like when you're coming from you're between office to home and you want to have food, you just order a food, which you cannot do by firing a laptop, because high likely you are in a transportation, and you can just take up the mobile and do that. So there are many use cases. They must have seen it and they have found it interesting, and that's why they have built it.
Thanks. Arvind is asking, can you highlight the metrics that quantify the user behaviors and their outcomes and estimate their impact?
So product usage is one metrics, or the product or the user journey is one metric. So yeah. So actually, one example I'll give you recently. The one example I'll give you, like, there was an application we were building, and this application was downloading file from the huge database, and the user was actually downloading it. And this is actually part of the proxy metrics, actually. Okay, so the user comes to the office and just dump the data, huge report, which is like close to 30 MB report. He's actually downloading. It's the big Excel sheet, I believe. Okay, downloading from the big data dump, and in between he actually goes for a coffee and comes after 30 minutes, and he finds his there are still 1 minute or 2 minutes of download spending. So basically this journey of what you see, right? Your engagement is really not productive. User is really not doing anything. Your app is actually live. Users' actions are actually pending, but your system is actually not sleeping. So you are actually finding it. Okay, how does it really help you? So just to answer your question, like, you really need to look at the nature of the product, what you have, and what is the call to actions you have built across the services, what you're rendering, and how users are actually coming. If I really talk about, like, in e-commerce, what we see is, like, if you look at the product and click on the add to cart button or buy now button, and you make a payment and you come out of it, it looks like a very simple journey. But how many users are really coming to the pay to button directly? And how many of them are actually going back after 3 days, or once the salary is credited, they actually buy a new phone on the early of the month by selecting from the cart. So you have the multiple journeys, and you really need to keep a map of all these journeys and try to understand that. So that's why like you have to create an event on event after event and try to see which event is connecting with what event and what is the possibilities of connecting, and so that you can create a huge diagram and try to see like how users are usually following, and is there any leading indicators where you can do it, right? So that's why Amazon or most of the e-commerce companies actually suggest you when you have something on your cart, keep on reminding you. They have emailers reminding you every week, okay, what is the cart value looks like, maybe. So this is how you actually look at the stream. You can do that, and there are a couple of tools are available. In a mobile application, you can check the Firebase, and the stream is a view where you can see how users are moving from one point to other point, and then you can actually try to figure out. You can actually scale it down and make a couple of drawings and try to understand the user behavior there.
Thank you. Prem Kumar is asking, are there any indicators that tell the PMs that they are measuring the wrong metrics?
No, actually, there are no straightforward metrics. Okay, so high likely you will be asked a lot of questions. Your success criteria will not be your success criteria will not be the good. Actually, the numbers or the goals what you set for yourself will not be going in a positive directions. So maybe like if just in case if you're not monitoring the leading indicators, just in case you miss to do that and you see a sudden dip in terms of the users. So yeah, that's where like the question comes, why so many users are leaving. The high likely the chief of the product team or the senior product manager or the group product manager might ask you like what happened, why close to certain segment of users are actually leaving. It could be a behavior, it could be something else. So have you created any indicators? So high likely, so these are the questions will be followed to come back to it. Yeah, which metrics I missed it.
Okay, thanks. And then Prem Kumar is also asking, what are some of the best practices for feeding the insights from these metrics into decision making?
Yeah, I mean like so when you are actually when you are actually making a decision. So first and foremost, like these metrics are only to indicate what is happening, what is the as is situation right now. And you have a product roadmap and there are many triggers, right? So basically it actually helps say like if the 500 users are using this service, I will actually give the reporting feature also to this feature. Or maybe like if the users are clicking this button, so most probably I will actually engage them in that perspective of it. So so there is no best practice. I would say these are everything is connected to everything. Try to align as much as close to the roadmap. Always look for what's in your roadmap for next 2 months or 3 months, based on completely based on your, for the B2B segment, the 2 months and 3 months are very less, and B2C, which is very fast moving environment, the 2 months and 3 months are good. So always try to connect with that and always try to create a trigger for the to the roadmap. So and the roadmap topic, we always say like do not give a timeline, because you're not a project manager to manage, okay, I will build this project between this time to this time and I'm done. You are a product managers. You have to keep the users engaged throughout the features, throughout the journey, and also like adding more and more value. You are more of a value driven person, and that's why you have to keep on indicating all the triggers, and these metrics should actually connect with your product roadmap. So that's as like the one way I can see like when you keep on adding value to the metrics as well as adding value to the roadmap.
Thank you. Arvind is asking, once you have gathered a list of metrics that impact the goal, how to evaluate them based on some meaningful criteria?
I'm sorry, I missed the question. I guess
yes,
a few words.
Once you have gathered a list of metrics that impact the goal, then how do you evaluate them based on some meaningful criteria?
So you really, I mean, like yeah, I mean, these are very case-to-case solutions. So again, I say like, I cannot give you the solution. So if you are, I mean, the HRMS tool, or if I'm really looking at the HRMS tool, yeah. So if I am built a metrics where the sourcing manager, I hope my example is actually your understanding. Okay, I have built an application where we are actually helping the organization to hire people and collect more and more resumes to hire the next rockstar product manager. So just in case if this is my product and I am actually giving this product to the user segment called the HR department of a company, then now that we really need to see like where the requirement came from, right? So there is a hiring manager who actually dropped the job description, give it to the sourcing manager who actually publishes this job description and try to collect as many resumes as possible, bring it back to the hiring manager, select it based on the initial filtering and so on. So when this is actually happening, right? So like if you see like a lot of failures are happening or something is really going wrong, so maybe like the one of the persona or one of the user segment you have missed to understand. And this actually happened almost 7 years ago with me. So I actually completely missed one persona and who was actually the biggest influencers. So again, like we have to go back and talk to the customers thoroughly and try to understand what has been done. And these are the corrective measures you can take it. And you can actually, this is a very interesting failure whenever it happens to you. I don't know, because it actually saves a lot of, it actually gives you good, very good learning, because you end up finding few insights from the way this complete application, because many times we just get very excited about the tech aspect of solving problem or solving a problem with the key stakeholders, but there is always a journey which actually triggers, because everything happens with a trigger, right? There is something happens, then you come back to this situation. So you try to solve a problem, but the trigger is somewhere else. So you need to connect with those triggers and try to bring as much as alignment to your product journey or the user journey. It would be good. So that's the best practice I can actually share right now.
Okay, thanks. Sagar Kumar is asking why PMs aren't in favor of proxy indicators. Feedback of customer is important for improvement of product, right?
Yes, you are actually correct. There are the feedback is very welcome from the customers, but what happened is many times. So just in case, okay, I'll give you an example in this way. Recently, when TikTok became a very popular, right? I'm say like I'm representing YouTube for a while, and the TikTok is very popular mobile application, which has actually taken a lot of load in terms of the user engagement, and the engagement is amazingly good, and the numbers are very good in TikTok. So when I'm really looking at that aspect of it, right? So where did, as a product roadmap, and where did I fail to understand what could be done, right? As a product managers, my content, and now it is actually happening. Now you have the 15-second snaps or 20-second snaps from the users can actually create, and highly it has been released in few countries. Very soon we can actually see at the global level. So basically, it is the indicator which is done, or it is the feature which has been enforced to the product manager by the competition, not by themselves. So they haven't seen this as a problem for any users, and they haven't built anything. And right now they are building it, but they're not very sure how successful it could be. That's the users, because already there is a small rift happen between the users of the TikTok versus the YouTube. So are the YouTube users are gonna act like a TikTok users on YouTube? So you can understand, right? As a product managers, you are receiving these feedbacks or your indicators. You're doing it, but you're not confident, and you're not very sure about, because you're actually building, bringing something or adding more to something to the list of hypotheses. And as a product managers, our work is to reduce the hypothesis, not increase the hypothesis. So these are the indicators which actually leads you, or these are the situations which actually bring more and more, more and more, what you call the hypothesis. This is another example I can give you, like, or another direction I can take you. So many times your application is very good, and there is a very interesting product called Khata Book, which is very popular in India, which has more than 10 million downloads. Sorry, I guess 10 million downloads right now. This book was actually created for the Indian small traders. But this book, this application is also very popular in the adjacent countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and some places of Sri Lanka also. So basically, they were not aware of the users might come, and now the users are actually coming, and they're asking like the cross-currency aspect of it. So could you please add my currency also? Or could you please add some business aspect of me also. So which are not the indicators, not very happy. And because of the investment on those, the product manager might need to drop a couple of features which he's building for the core market right now. So he has to trade off what to be done. So that's why, like, as a product managers, we are not very, go with the, not very happy with the, that's the emotional, the way of saying, like, we're not very happy with the proxy indicators.
Thank you. Arvind is asking another question. Why monetization metrics are particularly important for e-commerce websites?
Which metrics? I'm sorry.
And monetization metrics. Why are they particularly important for e-commerce websites?
E-commerce business is built on that. If you really look at any e-commerce, right? So the monetization is the only thing, and so it is so important. If you really look at the trend right now, it's just 1.5% is the success rate of the number of users will make a purchase. So if you have 100 users are actually, or 200 users are actually coming and checking this material, high likely only 2 users will actually do that. So that is like, that's very less numbers, right? So that's why the monetization and the complete business is built upon e-commerce. That's where the word e and commerce actually come into picture. So if you are, I mean, that's the product vision we have it, right? If Amazon is not for the entertainment, Amazon is not for the, or the Flipkart is not for the entertainment, right? We don't get the engagement. So that's the core value of the product we have there.
Christy is asking another question now. Are there tools that will help with the metrics that show users' engagement and their retention?
Yes, I mean, like, so any application. So if you are building a web application, I would say, like, go with Google Analytics first, see what you are missing, and based on that, you can start doing that. So there are many applications like MoEngage, WebEngage, UXCam, the ClearTap, the Firebase Analytics does a powerful job. These are the applications which you can actually try upon. So based on your tech stack, you can actually select, and you can actually look at the every aspect of it. So all the tools, you really need to have to understand, like, what is your business requirement and what you are trying to cover. Based on that, you can actually select. The interesting tools are actually in and around. But you got to, as a product manager, you have to define what you want to measure, then jump on the tool. Do not go to the tool and ask for what I can do. So it is a completely vice versa you have to think about.
Thank you. One more question for Christy. Could you please recommend other tools than Google Play Store and Apple App Store that could be used for collecting feedback from products' active users? I'm thinking about some apps internal survey.
Yeah, internal surveys are good. The internal surveys are very good if you can run it, if your users are actually engaging enough and giving you the information. Also, like, you can also connect with the users with the maybe like an email. I mean, like, I'm really not understanding what type of product you have. If it is a B2B product, it is very good to connect through emails and your Facebook page, YouTube channels, Instagram page. To connect with that, and also, like, you can run a campaign over a WhatsApp chat engine. You can do that. So that's how you can do that. And if it is a B2C, yes, you can actually ask for a quick service, but do not dump 4 or 5 questions on the same time. But take an interval and keep on asking how do you think we are doing? It's in that way. Or maybe you can run a campaign and make people ask them to rate us on Play Store and write some comment also. So that is also going to open if the numbers are very low in your Play Store or App Store. So this is also can be done. So like many of the service provider actually after 30 or 50 transactions, they actually send a notification. Could you please rate us? Hope you're finding us good. These kind of comment when they write. So